And one of my favourite videos to make is when we take a big corporation and then look at something stupid they did and then point and laugh. And that today is absolutely no different. So, today we're talking about that one time in 2018 when the Russian branch of Domino's decided to make a rather unique marketing idea, something which backfired completely. The idea of giving away free pizza for life is a very good idea on paper and very attractive. For the customers, that is. For Domino's, not so much. And you're probably wondering how we even got here. So, let's get into it. So, my Google Translate says the following from the post, so apologies if it's not completely correct, but translated it says the following. Sit down please, the news can be shocking. If you like fun, extreme excitement, if you like surprise and shock, and really love Domino's, then read the news below. We are launching an unprecedented promotion where every participant who has made a tattoo with our logo will receive a pizza for 100 years. Pizza emoji, pizza emoji, pizza emoji. That is A+ marketing right there. So what I think they mean when they say that you receive a pizza for 100 years, I think they mean free pizza for 100 years. That's what it was marketed as anyway. And all you needed was just a slap a tattoo on your body of the Domino's logo in some shape or form. Sounds pretty easy, right? Well, I think that might have been the problem, because it was a little bit too easy. The rules for the promotion are, in their words, extremely simple, and that you have to do the following. Get a real tattoo with the Domino's logo in a prominent place. Basically, you can put the tattoo wherever you like within reason. Post the result on a social media network, so at the time they had Instagram, Facebook, etc, with the hashtag #DominoForever. Then essentially you get a certificate which gives you free pizza for life at all Domino's pizza restaurants, provided the fact that your tattoo is authenticated before being given the certificate. Specifically, the reward goes on and says the following. On October 31st, 2018, we will solemnly award certificates to the participants of the action. The certificate gives the right to purchase any Domino's pizza throughout life, in the amount of no more than 100 pizzas per year. Okay, so that clarifies it a little bit more. 100 pizzas a year, which is a limit, but effectively is unlimited. I cannot see a situation where you eat pizza every single day to run out, but hey, if you'll be giving free pizza, then why the hell not? Plus, I think that after about 50 or 60 times, you'll probably get sick of Domino's for a few weeks, so maybe having a couple of days apart each time is probably not a bad idea. So, you're probably starting to see the problem here. I mean, hey, getting a little tattoo of something which is going to guarantee you pretty much free food for life, I think anybody and their mother would do the same thing, even if it's Domino's pizza. Look, I don't mind being a walking billboard for this company if they're going to feed me for my entire life. It seems like a fair trade-off. I mean, why the hell not? So, using the power of the Wayback Machine and looking at the original social media post, you can see that the comment section is a mixture of excited patrons, people woofing, and the occasional question which Domino's kindly answers, in which they confirmed it was any pizza on their entire menu, and was good for 100 pizzas per year for 100 years. Someone even asks where exactly they can get a tattoo, and they're basically told that if they can confirm it in any conspicuous place. So sorry, back of the crack Andy, no cheeky tats for you today. The original advert was scheduled to be marketed for 2 months, beginning on the 31st of August, to which it was presumed that over time, many patrons would go out of their way to make the decision to slap this logo on their body. But yes, this worked perhaps a little bit too well. Soon the social medias were flooded with people who'd gone out of their way to get themselves these tattoos, all showing their love and appreciation for Domino's pizza. This led to hundreds of people getting tattoos, with it being far more than expected. Yes, like I said, if you weren't Domino's Pizza, this is a bloody awesome offer, and you'd think that possibly someone looking at this from Domino's would kind of sit down and maybe have a little bit of a think about it and realise that they were about to give away hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of pizza, but there we are. So, after only 5 days of the promotion, Domino's realised what an absolutely monumental cock-up they'd just made. And they quickly scrambled to add a very tiny proviso into the terms and conditions, saying that this was only valid for the first 350 people that signed up. This pretty much ended the promotion there and then, because there was certainly a lot more than 350 people that had done this. This can be easily evidenced with the massive influx of people submitting their photographs of the tattoos they'd got. And to save those who were currently in the chair getting it done, Domino's gave a further proviso and said the following: "An urgent message to all those sitting at the tattoo artists right now. We'll include you in the list of participants, but we're waiting for the photos up to midday today." Unfortunately for many people in Russia, this had an incredibly tight window in which to get this tattoo and submit it, meaning that if you weren't having one that morning, you were pretty much shit out of luck. Unless you could do one yourself or get a crayon and just draw it on yourself, who knows? It's free pizza for life. You're gonna try anything at this point. Domino's, after very quickly retracting this promotion, shall we say, or what I would probably call the biggest charity case I've ever seen in fast food, basically decided, nah, let's just go back to the way things were. Immediately stopped the promotion, and anybody else beyond that point who decided to get a Domino's tattoo wouldn't be able to claim any free pizza. They would basically be getting a tattoo of a corporation just for the love of it, which doesn't really seem worth it to me. This video wouldn't be a normal KFC video with Brainspill if I didn't have a bucket of KFC, but yeah, I might have forgot to get some before recording this video. That, and also it kind of feeds into the topic we're talking about today. If we're talking about the fact that KFC had no chicken, then why would I have chicken? But to be perfectly honest with you, if KFC gave me that black card, we wouldn't have any problems here, would we? Wink, wink. Unfortunately, in today's video, we don't have a KFC black card, and we're also talking about the time where KFC had no chicken. So I don't think it's going to make a lick of difference here, people. In February 2018, the UK experienced a crisis like it never had before. A great chicken famine. This resulted in hundreds of stores across the country to close in something that hadn't been seen in years prior. It's annoying. Like, when you get fast food at your own leisure, you kind of don't think about all the time of what happened behind the scenes and how these stores get their food in the first place. And when someone tells you that you can't have something, then your brain tells you that you have to have it. This was so bad, in fact, that about 800 of the company's 900 locations in the UK had to close as a result of the fact that they couldn't get chicken. Their website did say that many stores had the chicken and that they'd reopened, but it still didn't change the fact that this was closures on a large scale. If KFC had no chicken, what can it sell? Fries and milkshakes? The fried chicken is quite clearly the most important part here. KFC said the chicken shortage had been caused by a couple of teething problems with its new delivery partner, DHL. Ah, DHL, the delivery company that everybody knows, mainly because they promise to get their package to you in lightning time, even if it means kicking your parcel over your neighbour's fence just to get it delivered on time. So, DHL, either way, are going to make sure that the delivery gets to you. Except if you've ordered about 1,600 tons of chicken, because, well, KFC didn't get that. Both DHL and KFC released statements playing down the problem, claiming it was operational issues and logistical problems as to why the deliveries were not being fulfilled. However, the news media managed to spin this into a national crisis. This was before everything that happened in the past few years, however, so maybe cut them some slack. It might have been a slow news day. KFC decided to switch suppliers from Bidvest Logistics, who stated that they believed the handover was seamless, almost like they dropped everything and thought, well, that ain't our problem anymore. Suffice to say, people were pissed. Real pissed. Some people even went to social media, such as Kaylee here, who said that KFC not having any chicken was almost like the world coming to an end. Oh, Kaylee, this is 2018. If you even knew what was coming, you wouldn't be batting an eyelid by the fact that there was no chicken. This would just be a normal run of the day, because things would get much, much worse. It probably doesn't help that the UK is KFC's largest market in Europe and in the top 5 globally, so for the company to close nearly all their restaurants across the country is a pretty big deal. Some places did take quite a while in order to get their supplies back before they were able to reopen. As you can tell, this entire event caused a lot of internal trauma, and hence why I'm so passionate about making this video on it. Thankfully, the gravy has not been touched yet, so we can be sure that the world has not come to an end. Quite yet. This affected people a lot, and to account for the shithousery that occurred, KFC released a full-page apology on a well-known newspaper, showing a large KFC bucket with the appropriate letters FCK instead of KFC, which read as follows: "A chicken restaurant without any chicken. It's not ideal. Huge apologies to our customers, especially those who travelled out of their way to find we were closed. And endless thanks to our KFC team members and our franchise partners for working tirelessly to improve the situation. It's been a hell of a week, but we're making progress, and every day more and more fresh chicken is being delivered to our restaurants. Thank you for bearing with us." Look, as a fellow Brit myself, I can say that this sort of thing is the right way to approach absolutely cocking something up massively. If you just make a joke about it and say, "Yep, sorry guys, hands up, it's our fault," then people are going to forgive you far quicker than trying to give this corporate bullshit spin about how things are unforeseen circumstances and blah 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 blah. No. Just tell us what happened, we'll give you a point and laugh, and then we'll call it a day. I think a decision like this by KFC was a good idea, and instead of trying to do the corporate saving face thing, just say it how it is. People will respect you much more for it. The transparency is refreshing, plus by not throwing DHL under the bus, I guess that kind of works itself out. Although we don't actually know what the logistical problems were, it must have been something pretty significant for a nationwide shutdown. Stores have of course since opened back up since this whole fiasco, selling chicken once again. And whilst this storm in a bottle passed, and hopefully once the other more pressing stuff in the world has subsided, I can see this happening again. So start hoarding your chicken, people. We need to be prepared. Look, this is a message directly to KFC. Everyone else you can pretty much switch off now, but if you're KFC, I want you to keep watching. You. Yeah, I'm talking to you. No. Let's not play the runaround here. You know what I want. It's a card and it's black. So, if you give it to me, I'm going to make it worth your while. Who knows, maybe if you did, the 0.0000001% of the audience that may watch this video may go to your restaurant because of it. Who knows? You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And today we are talking about Taco Bell, and the reasons as to why, for some strange reason, they never quite got on their feet when they tried to start opening stores in Mexico. Right, so taking it back to basics. Taco Bell was established in California in 1962, serving of course the previously mentioned Mexican-inspired food. Purchased by PepsiCo in 1978, the restaurant has expanded around the globe and operates more than 7,000 restaurants. One of the many draws for these types of places, and fast food in general, is that it can be produced quickly and cheaply, meaning that it is perfect for anyone that wants to come in and just get a quick snack, or if they want to gorge themselves on an entire mukbang of Taco Bell. You know, no judgment here. And the sheer fact that these restaurants have become so popular in the last few decades really speaks volumes, because of the fact that there's so much variety and it's affordable too, so there's even a saver menu for those people that want to go and get something like that, which I am a very big fan of. So, with expansion around the globe, it would only make sense for Taco Bell to look to their southerly neighbours, Mexico, to see if they could perhaps break into the market there and open Taco Bell restaurants for everybody to enjoy. So, for the first time ever, people were trying to hop the border south instead of the other way around. Yep, that's right, Taco Bell were entering the cultural homeland of throwing ground beef inside a warm tortilla. Taco Bell originally trying to enter the market in Mexico in 1992, in which John Martin, Taco Bell's chief executive at the time, said that entry into the Mexican market was part of a plan for aggressive international expansion. Well, I guess we'll see how that goes. Taco Bell opened some locations with food carts, each being operated by 2 people and offering a somewhat limited menu of soft-shell tacos and burritos. Of course, keep it to the classics and see if it does well. And if it does, you could maybe look to expand your reach to actually investing in some actual restaurants. Oh, and of course, they would have plenty of nachos to go around. Who doesn't like nachos? With that cheese sauce, you know what I'm saying? Yes, so at this time in particular in the United States, Taco Bell had many restaurants big buildings which people could walk in with their legs, order off a menu, and then sit down in the restaurant and eat their fast food tacos. Or, if you wanted to, you could always go through a drive-thru. These things are pretty much a staple these days, but for some strange reason, Taco Bell decided to go down this low-cost and affordable route to basically use food carts to try and get people to be interested in Taco Bell. I don't know if it's just me, but having a food cart seems almost a little bit less effort and less quality. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just from my experience. So, unless you're constipated and needed something to bung it up with, I don't think street Taco Bell was really a good idea. Despite opening in 1992, just 2 years later, every location had shut in Mexico as it appeared for some unknown reason. Taco Bell just didn't resonate with the Mexican people. You know what? This mystery absolutely baffles me. I mean, as a Mexican, and you're looking at a fast food cart from the United States, you'd think, well, I could try it. Maybe. Or I could just get the real deal in Mexico. You know, some actual good food. Because at the end of the day, you could probably get something much nicer at probably the same price with fresher ingredients and perhaps from someone like a local business rather than a massive corporate brand. You just never know. This might also have something to do with the fact that many fast food restaurants make their food from frozen meat, which is just a standard in this industry. However, in Mexico, a lot of the food they have, in particular the meats, are fresh and local. So, if you had the choice, why wouldn't you pick the latter? And, of course, hard-shelled tacos. Whilst this is a staple for anyone that has ever stepped foot inside a Taco Bell, a hard-shelled taco is not authentically Mexican. This is purely an American creation, which would have likely confused many Mexicans who went to order a taco from Taco Bell. Many of which will have never even seen food like this from the United States before. This strange offering probably didn't really do much to win many people over. And yes, whilst I wasn't in Mexico in the year 1992 to taste one of these Taco Bells, all it takes is a little bit of research online to figure out maybe as to one of the few reasons why Taco Bell really didn't get off the ground in Mexico, and that was down to the price. I did say previously that fast food, by design, is meant to be quite cheap. However, it was kind of off market in Mexico, as the price wasn't really that competitive. If you're selling a taco for what equates to just over $3, the price of other similar street vendors in Mexico was about half that price. So why on earth would you pay more for a Taco Bell when you can get something else for half the price? It just seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me. So yeah, their first shot was a swing and a miss. I think a good way to describe this experience was not put any better than Mexican historian Carlos Monsiváis, who said that bringing Taco Bell to Mexico was like bringing ice to the Arctic. Couldn't have put it better myself. So, the executives at Taco Bell had a long, hard think about how they could address this problem. They tried and failed once, so if they were ever going to attempt it again, they needed a foolproof plan. How on earth can you convince a Mexican to like Taco Bell? Well, in 2007, they decided to give it a second shot because they thought they had the most genius idea ever. And yeah, given the title of this video, you can probably see where this is going. Instead of trying to make any form of imitation to try and appease the locals, they instead, this time, decided to truly embrace the Americanisms of Taco Bell, in hopes that as a cheap price and convenient alternative, this would be enough to convince people to try Taco Bell again, instead of other local foods that are on offer. Basically, they realised that when it came down to trying to imitate Mexican food, they weren't really going to cut it. I mean, it's not Mexican food. So, they decided that the approach they were going to take was to let it all out there and basically say, black and white, that Taco Bell is not Mexican, it is something different. And that was basically Taco Bell's slogan at the time. Taco Bell, something else. Yeah, something else. Baby steak in a tortilla is also something else, but I digress. So yes, they were hoping that this marketing drive would be enough to convince people that this is something else, and this is why you should give it a second try. Now, the problem with this was that, like many other places around the world, we see many American brands and chains, such as Starbucks, McDonald's, KFC, and so on. So, to try and add yet another one to the mix, and try and break into the market, it might have left a bit of a sour taste, or the taste of tostadas instead. Truly, authentically Mexican food. They can assure you of that. Now, I was looking at news reports at the time from local people who were trying Taco Bell out in 2007, and the same comment kept coming up again and again and again. The fact that the Taco Bell menu, they were really going Americanized. So Americanized, in fact, that when they decided to add French fries to the menu, that was the thing that turned off a lot of people, because they realized how American Taco Bell actually was. Despite the fact that they opened actual restaurant locations, they had a much wider menu to choose from. It was things like French fries, which really didn't sit well with people, because as most Mexican people would probably not sit down to have a quesadilla alongside French fries. It just doesn't go together. So yeah, for a whole host of reasons, be it a lack of interest, too much competition, or just not very good overall. This was likely a whole mixture of factors, as within 3 years in the year 2010, Taco Bell wrapped up their operations in Mexico for good. And yeah, those are the reasons why Taco Bell isn't in Mexico. So, just in case you're deciding to visit and you decide that you really want a Taco Bell, for some strange reason, then I guess you can't. You're going to have to make sure to go back over the border to get it from the good old US of A. And for those of you that don't know, McDonald started a cross-promotion with Monopoly in the United States in 1987, and this has since been used worldwide. Other games have been used throughout different years in different locations, but the McDonald's and Monopoly promotion is by far the most popular and well-known one there is. The concept is pretty straightforward. You go and buy yourself some food from a McDonald's restaurant, which has some sticky labels that you can peel off, and those sticky labels may relate to a single win prize, like an item of food or a drink or something like that. But in addition to that, you may also get tokens or pieces from the actual Monopoly board. So you might get various properties, stations, utilities, you know the game. And basically the sets can give you different prizes. I think most people watching this probably already know what it is, so I don't really need to explain much more than that. The lower squares, such as the brown and blue pieces, give you the lower prizes, and the higher sets, such as the dark blue Mayfair set, grants you the largest prizes in the competition, mainly being the grand prize. So big in fact that the prize can be upwards of $1 million. Therefore, there is big money at stake here. The chances of actually winning one of these prizes is incredibly slim, however, so much so that millions of McDonald's are sold daily around the world, with only a few top tier prizes available for each promotion. So yeah, the odds of winning this thing are actually so small, it does make you wonder why people even do it in the first place. But because of how much money is on the line, there's always going to be one person that tries to skirt the system. Somebody that might try and stack the odds in their favour. Look, I'm not gonna lie, if I won $1 million by eating fast food, it would be swell, not gonna lie. But I know the first thing I'd buy with it, and that would be for me to get my stomach pumped. So, where does the fraud come from? While the game has been running for a number of years, 2001 in the United States was a particularly controversial promotion. Simon Marketing, a subcontracting company, had been hired by McDonald's to organise and promote the game. However, being granted such a big important responsibility resulted in big and important people being involved, taking advantage of this trusted position by taking the top prizes for themselves. It was found that Jerome Jerry Jacobson was able to remove the most valued game pieces, which he then passed to associates who would redeem them and share the proceeds. Look, maybe he thought that McDonald's wouldn't care, or maybe that his harebrained scheme was too brilliant for them to not even notice what was happening. Well, they were partly right, because they managed to get away with this for such a long time, but eventually this house of Monopoly cards would come crashing down. He started by stealing winning game pieces after a supplier mistakenly provided him with a sheet of anti-tamper seals needed to secretly make the swap. While he could not of course claim the prizes himself, because, you know, he's the chief of security for the company hired to make the whole thing, He basically banked on this stroke of luck, and years of expertise in private security, he managed to gain a great understanding of how the promotion was ran behind the scenes, how the tickets were printed, and the importance of these anti-tamper-proof seals. With all of this knowledge and the working of the cahoots with gangs, they were able to establish this hugely lucrative empire of defrauding McDonald's for years. Basically, he would come to agreement with people by allowing them to claim the ticket and the prize money by basically offering them a sum of the money that they'd win. So everybody was going to be a winner. Except McDonald's and all of the customers that weren't involved in this whole scheme, shall we say. I would say scheme, but it is just straight up theft. And yes, you'd think that such a criminal mastermind would be a little bit more careful with how he actually went about his business. But no, he initially decided to start with his own friends and family, which probably wasn't already suspicious to begin with, but there we are. After that, he decided to extend his web much more widely, particularly into the Colombo crime family. Because, of course you do, that's the natural progression of things. So much so that Jerry Colombo himself won a Dodge Viper in the 1995 promotion, and even appeared on national television promoting his win of the car. I mean, look at that face. The face of someone who knows he's just swindled the system, and nobody was none the wiser. This had been ongoing for a number of years, with evidence later uncovered that back in 1995, he had sent a winning game piece worth $1 million to St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. At the time, nobody knew who the anonymous donor was, but McDonald's made an exception due to the fact that you normally couldn't transfer the winning proceeds from a game ticket from one person to another. But because it was going to a charity, they made an exception this one time. At the time, nobody realised that the true culprit was Jacobson himself, the security man behind the scenes of this whole operation. So, how did this all come crumbling down? It all led from an anonymous tip to an FBI agent. And this was the paper trail that led to this entire empire coming down. This was the first breadcrumb in a number that would lead to uncovering one of the biggest scams of its kind, something that went on for over a decade. The investigation uncovered how he was able to get away with doing this, which included him going into airport bathrooms and swapping out the rare tickets for non-rare ones to ensure auditors didn't catch wind of what was going on. The investigation went on and even realised that, technically, all the winners came from pretty much the same area, but they travelled around the country to collect the prizes to try and make people none the wiser about what was going on here. But, with a little bit of digging, they found that there was a very clear connection between many of the previous winners. This didn't stop the fact that 3 of the winners were the father, cousin and friends of Colombo, which isn't at all suspicious. They were all able to link together phone calls via wiretaps, following payments of checks and cash money, and even where the winners claimed the tickets and where they lived in comparison. It soon became apparent that there was something very fishy going on. And no, I'm not talking about a fish fillet sandwich kind of fishy. I mean fishy as in fraud and scammy type of fishy. This dishonesty of where the tickets were claimed had really blown the case wide open. All roads led back to Jacobson. By the time this entire operation unfolded, they discovered that over the course of however many years this was going on for, Jacobson and his associates, or family members, managed to scam about $24 million worth of prizes, which is insane. Just think about how many hungry Americans were going to these restaurants hoping that they might be a winner, and for years there was somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings which even McDonald's didn't even know about. However, his deeds finally caught up to him, in which 8 people were arrested in connection with this huge security blunder. In the end, there were numerous criminal prosecutions, with 53 people indicted, of whom 48 pled guilty, 46 in pre-trial plea agreements, whilst 2 others changed their pleas from not guilty to guilty during their trials. Jacobson pleaded guilty to 3 counts of mail fraud in federal court in Jacksonville, Florida, and served 3 years in a federal prison. He also had to pay $12.5 million in reparations. As a part of his plea deal, he fully disclosed the workings of his plot, and then the truth really came out about how this whole thing went about. And that is how we know about everything that happened. After he spilled the beans and pretty much explained how he managed to get away with it for so long, it really does make you wonder that if it wasn't for the tip-off to the FBI, how much longer would he have been able to get away with this? My thoughts is many, many more years to come. And it also does make you wonder how many airport bathroom trips it takes to get caught by the FBI. Well, in this case, it was many, many times. I've always thought that there was something fishy going on with this promotion anyway, but that just pretty much takes the double bacon cheeseburger. And today is one of those stories which either you've heard it because it's quite well known, or that you have never heard it or you don't care. Either way, it is a pretty startling story. It's a tale of, pretty much, the early bird catches the worm, or in this case, you trade out the worm for a pizza. For the uninitiated among you, Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency without a central bank or single administrator, which can be sent from user to user using peer-to-peer Bitcoin networks without the need of any intermediaries. Transactions are verified through a network called the blockchain. So thank you very much Wikipedia for that very concise statement. Before seeing this digital asset plastered everywhere, Bitcoin was originally a concept on how currency could be used and operate in the future. You could basically mine coins with a laptop CPU, and it was mostly a group of budding tech geeks and engineers spooling over the ever-growing question of how to operate a decentralized ledger. This at the time was truly a look into the future, but at the time this was very, very new technology, and many people didn't even know what a Bitcoin was at the time. And the first people in the know would very shortly have the first blockchain up and running, where to actually get a Bitcoin, all you pretty much needed to do was press a button, and you would get a single Bitcoin. Yes, that was actually a thing back when Bitcoin first started. You could literally print money. The coins could be mined but had no real use case at the time. No established company or merchant was going to accept a digital asset that nobody had ever heard of. How much was this thing worth? What's the utility? What's the use case? These were all questions that needed to be solved, and one man tried to help establish that idea, called Laszlo Hania, who had some coins of his own, each being worth, at the time, about $0.004. So, in order to try and establish a use case for this brand new currency, with nothing else like it ever being used before, Laszlo decided to make a post on an online forum called Bitcoin Talk on the 18th of May 2010 to pose the following idea. I'll pay 10,000 Bitcoins for a couple of pizzas. Like maybe 2 large ones, so I've some left over for the next day. I like having leftover pizza to nibble on later. You me both, buddy. You me both. You can make the pizza yourself and bring it to my house or order it for me from a delivery place. But what I'm aiming for is getting food delivered in exchange for Bitcoins, where I don't have to order or prepare it myself. Kind of like ordering a breakfast platter at a hotel or something. They just bring you something to eat and you're happy. This is crazy, preposterous. So preposterous, in fact, that it might just work. I like things like onions, peppers, sausage, mushrooms, tomatoes, pepperoni, etc. Just standard stuff, no weird fish topping or anything like that. I also like regular cheese pizzas, which may be cheaper to prepare or otherwise acquire. If you're interested, please let me know and we can work out a deal. This post online would be the precursor to the very first transaction using Bitcoin, an actual use case for this new currency that nobody had ever heard of before, something that we have grown so synonymous with today. At first, it did take a little bit of time to find a seller near the Florida area, or someone who would be willing to buy a pizza for him in exchange for Bitcoin. One user comments that 10,000 Bitcoin was quite a lot and suggested he could sell them on the market for about $41 at the time, which is a fair estimation, I guess, of what you should expect to pay for pizza. No need for cheating people out of good money now, is there? Laszlo then commented saying the following. So nobody wants to buy me pizza? Is the Bitcoin amount I'm offering too low? So this is the point where I have to put my head in my hands and think, why on earth didn't I listen to those internet basement dwellers at the time? Because yes, I was a nerd too, but I wasn't so much so that I had an intimate knowledge of what this Bitcoin thing actually was. People would say, invest in Bitcoin, Not financial advice, by the way, but whenever I was told this, I was like, go away with your crazy internet money. Yeah, if only I knew. Yeah, my friend, I would give you a pizza for $40 if you were going to give me that much Bitcoin back then. I think it would be a pretty wise trade. Then, on the 22nd of May 2010, a post went up where Laszlo confirmed that a deal had been made with a user called Jekos, who made the trade for Papa John's Pizza of all things, making this the first purchase of Bitcoin for a good or service, and the start of something truly revolutionary. The trade went ahead. Laszlo got his pizzas and he paid 10,000 Bitcoin, and his daughter was pretty happy too, which is cute and all, but hindsight's a funny thing, given that he paid 10,000 Bitcoin for this. At least at the time, everybody was happy with what they got at the end of this trade. At the time, at least. This offer was extended to anybody that wanted to buy Laszlo Pizza, but he soon withdrew the offer only a few months later when the asset started to gain traction and the price of Bitcoin accelerated. No man wants to spend thousands of dollars on pizza. You know, most people anyway. Unlike the people that bought the incredibly expensive pizzas in my other video, the world's most expensive pizza. You know what, you can check that one out too at the end of this video. Wink wink. So, if Bitcoin was worth $50,000 and you still had 10,000 Bitcoin, that pizza would have been worth $500 million. And yes, I could have clickbaited the title of the video and said man eats $500 million pizza, which technically would have been correct. But the reality at the same time is that this pizza was worth about $40. And quite frankly, nobody had any idea that Bitcoin would become the monumental success that it has done just within a year or so of this happening. For Laszlo, he had just given away 10,000 Bitcoin. He got some pizza for it, and there may be an argument to be made that that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. But he was making history. He had purchased the first good item or service using Bitcoin, and that would be the start of something truly great. He has been making history. However, my question is, does Laszlo regret it? Years later, Laszlo was asked this very question, and his answer was that he doesn't like to think about it. He doesn't like to think about what he spent and what Bitcoin is now worth. And I think for anybody in that position, they would have given the exact same answer, because you can't really think about that. It's done. It's paid. That's it. You know what I mean? Just think about how many Papa John's pizzas you could have bought for $500 million. Yeah, I can imagine a fair few. Well, Laszlo has admitted that after the purchase of these pizzas, he started to go all in and made a number of other trades using Bitcoin. In all, he estimated that he spent 100,000 Bitcoin on a number of items, most of which was pizza. But as a pioneer, he deserves all the damn pizza he can afford. To mark this event, the 22nd of May is marked as Bitcoin Pizza Day. Truly, an event to mark in the calendar, people. Funny, it's almost the reason why this video is being released, I believe, on the same day. Just a coincidence, I'll have you know. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas for what topics you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. So, my advice is you hodl that pizza. You hodl that pizza hard, and you never sell pizza, regardless of how much a single pizza's worth. You have diamond hands, people. Keep that pizza. Or something like that. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.